Okay, so Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 5. Sorry for the reduced quality. I'll try and stay facing the only light I got here because I'm in Puerto Rico, so there's not much of my equipment here. We're back to my phone. Sorry for the downgrade, but getting right into my thoughts on this episode because I know the last couple of these reviews I've done have done really well, so let's go ahead and keep feeding into that because, YouTube. But this episode had the entire Battle of King's Landing, and a lot of things just get wrapped up, and this was not as bad as the last episode of Game of Thrones, without a doubt. But there was a lot of character payoff that I personally did not like, including how Jaime Lannister ended, including how spoiler filled, by the way, obviously. If you haven't figured that out by now, sorry, but yes, spoiler filled. My biggest issue would be the two characters that I think just had their arcs rather abruptly destroyed. One more abruptly than the other, and that would be Jaime Lannister and Daenerys. So Jaime's whole arc for the show has been moving on past Cersei, and I thought last episode when he ran to go help her, that was going to be a red herring, where he was actually going to go and try and kill her or stop her. But no, he was actually just going to go back and undo all of the character development for what he's been so far, and that was disappointing. And Daenerys, I know a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but I do not feel going full-on Anakin with her was justified. She went from a pretty reasonable, it looks good for her, future queen to absolutely purging a city in about 3 episodes. And maybe a little bit more than that, but I do not feel that it is earned, and I don't think that fits the character and the writing there for her. It just doesn't, I guess it's the Targaryen curse, but again, this is something people are going to disagree with me on. I know some people are going to agree with it and say, hey, it fits the track she was going down, but having her go from liberator to tyrant so quickly didn't vibe with that exactly. I did like the Hound and the mountains fight. That was really good. Well done, intense. The mountain was scarier than ever then, really. And the siege itself, while certainly excessive at times, I definitely could have used more character and less just burning everything time. Looked incredible. Having the men so eagerly just start purging and killing left and right really surprised me. It just felt odd and out of place and unearned, and I feel like if they had gone darker throughout the rest of the season, it would have worked a little better, but I think this is an ending that could have worked better if it had been earned better earlier in the season, but they didn't earn it earlier in the season, and so the payoff just isn't entirely there, unfortunately. So overall, I think it is 2 really bad character decisions, one that could have been earned. Daenerys is turning into a tyrant if they had spent more time on it, and I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of those 2 things. I liked the siege overall, I guess. Having the dragon stay low and be much more aggressive so the ballistas couldn't hit him makes more sense. I guess if I have to take a stab at it, that the writer's logic is that the ballistas were able to hit them when they were gliding slowly, and having a move so quickly would be a lot easier for the dragon to avoid, but I don't know. That was still strange to me to see them nail those shots from a mile away, 3 in a row, and then miss so much. Okay. Having Jaime get stabbed twice and then be just kind of limping little and fine until he gets to Cersei, which again I feel is a very disappointing end for his character, was strange. I don't care about that guy who stabbed him, Euros, whatever his name is. Don't care about him, so just whatever. Just having him die by Jaime made sense, I guess. I don't know, there's things here that are good. The battle itself, once again, quite the spectacle. Game of Thrones is setting a high bar for the future in all fantasy adaptations, and having the battles look incredible, especially with, the long takes they were doing were really impressive. I'm sure 90% of it CGI, but it still looked good and was enough to enthrall me. But goddamn, that battle was one-sided. Not even for a second did King's Landing put up a good fight. It was just done, which again clashes what we were shown earlier with, God, everything that's really a big issue with here for me, except for Jamie, is just because it wasn't set up well earlier in the season. Like having so many soldiers left in the people we're following's army doesn't make sense with what they've already been through. Why are they outnumbering a fully replenished, rested military with multiple forces aligned to resist them when they just literally fought the army of the dead? And yeah, it's very unsatisfying in a lot of ways. So that doesn't have me going, but I will say without a doubt, Game of Thrones still has cojones, because there were some bold choices taken here, a lot of gore, making a lot of the characters we've been following basically turn out to accidentally serve a tyrant. Oops. You know, that all was still daring, I guess, for Game of Thrones to pull off, but just doesn't feel earned. That's pretty much all my thoughts on this episode. Hello from Puerto Rico. I will be back Friday, and then you'll be back to your regular scheduled Daniel programming. And of course, I will be doing my final Game of Thrones review next Sunday. And look forward to more backlog videos coming out throughout the week, because everything else you're gonna be seeing this week is from a backlog. So go watch the Fantasy Chat with Murphy and Appear if you have not checked that out already. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace.